Welcome to another edition of Speak, Listen, Human Stories. Today I've got a very good friend of mine, David Cunningham. Dave is a personal trainer and swim coach. However, what we're going to talk about today is the conversation that we all have or don't have with our physical bodies. And Dave, you are an expert, even by accident, of helping us to navigate through this conversation that we have or that we don't have with our bodies. So just wanted to tell you, you know this story as well, but our listeners and our viewers might not.
Okay.
So around this time last year, I relocated to County Mayo.
Yeah.
I was living there before, but I went back and I was studying and I got made redundant.
Yeah.
And had a breakup as well. So
I remember for sure.
You did. Dave was very much one of my angels at the time. So kind of things sort of fell apart.
Yeah. That's
not the reason for this story. But I was broke. I was very isolated where I was living. And while I was studying and finished studying, I didn't have, I couldn't go out and get a job because I was finishing my studies. Now, when I did that and everything, so really all I had was outside in nature.
Yeah.
Now, rewinding back when I was a little nipper in the 80s.
Yes.
Teenager in the 90s, started smoking when I was 14.
Yeah.
It was like I didn't even know how to breathe properly.
Yes.
It was like I didn't, nobody said back then, bottled water wasn't even invented.
Yes, yeah.
Do you know, it was the mid 80s and people were like, why the hell would you buy water? Do you know what I mean?
I remember those times, We had Cadet fizzy drinks and
all of those red lemonade, which is banned now.
Absolutely, yeah.
But there was all these things and I grew up on Achill Island, which is a beautiful place, of course. We drove everywhere because you had to drive everywhere.
Yeah.
Going to the beach was a chore.
Yeah.
For a kid.
Of course, yeah.
Now, the only fitness you got was, before you could drive, you would cycle everywhere.
Yeah.
But it was only because you had to.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was a means to an end. Yeah.
But I never, ever listened to my body.
Yeah.
I was smoking for a very long time from low age. The diet wasn't good.
Yeah.
White bread, all of this stuff. Now, so I'm not going to get into the health stuff too much, but, I was a typical pasty young man, undernourished in terms of vitamins, minerals, all that kind of stuff. Bad habits. And then, drinking, binge drinking, well into my 20s and even 30s. That. And I just got to a stage where, and that has obviously, we all know the effects of that, even from, maybe a bit of depression, a bit of, not sleeping well. You get into a groove, you get into a pattern of just potato-ness,
Well,
so what happened was, so this year or last year, 2024, all I had, and you could either stay in bed, smoke your brains out, or get up and out. And I was so lucky that I had the beach in front of me and I had Patrick behind me.
Yes.
And I imagined that all these problems were coming in on top of me. But I imagined at the top of that mountain, I had no problems.
Yeah.
And I was free. It was like I was above the earth.
Yes. Right? Yeah.
So the first time I ever went up it was, I think, about during COVID, actually. So 2020. And I think it took me about 3 hours to get up and about an hour and a half to get down. So 4.5 hours.
Okay. Yeah.
I won't bore you with the details, but in July, I went up 3 times and up and down 3 times in 5 hours and 15 minutes.
Amazing. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
And that was for a charity run.
Yeah.
Now, earlier, so for the first part of 2024, I would drag myself out of bed. And I said, if I only do one thing today, it's to get up.
Get up. Yeah.
So that's the backstory.
Yeah.
What I got into was that I sort of unlocked a part of myself that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
And my body started speaking to me in terms of its capability.
Of course, yeah.
Of change.
Yes.
And of adaptation. And it started to affect my sleep in a positive way. It started to affect my diet. I didn't want to eat the crap anymore.
Yeah, of course.
Because I felt like when I was pushing physically, it was like holding me back.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So I started going up 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And then I started going up 5 times a week.
Yeah.
And then I started going up every day.
Yeah.
And the more I went up, the more I felt free from my problems.
Yeah.
The more my body gave me endorphins.
Yes.
The more I got good vibes. I felt more positive about my thoughts. And I felt like I was releasing and letting go every time I was going up.
Yeah.
It was really hard.
Yeah.
But once I got up there, I was like, this feels really good, no matter what the weather. And then I started going up sometimes twice a day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just no top on, just short runners.
Brilliant.
And everyone was looking at me like I had 3 heads.
Who's this lunatic?
Lunatic.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm very proud of myself. Don't know if that comes across. But it changed my life.
Yeah.
Because I felt like something had actually fundamentally shifted in my cells.
Yeah.
By accident.
Yes.
And I wouldn't go back to, people get into bad habits and, negative, and over Christmas and all that, you kind of go back and are busy.
Yeah.
And for my day job, January is the busiest month of the year. So and the weather's bad and all that kind of stuff. So, but apart from that, this language of my physical body started knocking on the door and going, we're in a relationship here.
What about me?
What about me?
Yeah.
And, as I tapped into this, my conversations with you a lot of them became about this.
Yes, yeah.
But also all the other layers behind why I was doing this and etc. So anyway, that's why I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Get you here.
Yeah.
Because it absolutely changed my life.
Yeah. And
I feel that you have been in this world.
Yes.
All your life?
Yeah. So when I was younger, I was very lucky. My mum taught me, brought me to swimming. My mum was a swimmer, when she grew up. So I think sometimes with our children, we like, to see them do the things we enjoy, and you like to usher them towards maybe experiences that you had. So my mum, big thanks to her that she got me into swimming. And swimming was the one thing that I did for, and I didn't even think of it as a kid, My mother and father split up when I was 6. And much like probably what you experienced when you started using your body, for me, even at that age of my life, swimming was the place I went to where nothing mattered. I just got into the pool and I was able to have fun with the people around me, but I was also able to use my body. I probably would have been a little on the heavier side as a kid. I wasn't a runner. I wasn't great at football or team stuff, but God, when I got into the pool, I was the best. So for me, it gave me something that I knew I was better than everybody at. So it gave me a confidence in myself that at least at this is where I shine, So swimming, for me, I just kept getting better and moving and progressing up until you get up to club level. Then that gets very intense because that's super, there's a lot of commitment that it comes with being swimming competitively. Like you train 6 days a week, you do 3 hours.
Early mornings.
Yeah, you get up, so you're swimming at, 5 in the morning. You get out at 7:30, so it's about 2.5 hours, like Monday to Friday. You were doing 2 evening sessions a week, and then you swam for 3 hours on a Saturday as well. So you're doing nearly, at that age, 18 hours a week of training, It probably gets a bit too much at some point. So when I was 15, I jacked it in, just because there was other pull factors. My friends, my peers, they were all off smoking and drinking. So I really wanted to give...
We didn't know each other then.
No, we didn't know each other then. Yeah. So I really wanted to give that a go. Yeah. So I put as much effort into that at that age.
We were so cool.
John Player Blue. So, you know, I probably fell off the wagon for about a year and a half. You know, had a lot of fun with my friends. We did a lot of knacker drinking, a lot of smoking behind gaffs in bushes. You know, got up to skullduggery and had fun.
Yeah.
But then there was something missing, and that period was quite a dark period for me. Again, thanks to my mum. She had pushed me into becoming a lifeguard and a swim instructor. So by the time I was 16, I was working in pools. I was very lucky to be working in like places like health clubs that had great facilities. So it got me thinking about, maybe I'll use these facilities. You know, I have a free membership to a very good gym, you know. And then I started dabbling with the gym. And much like you found when you started exercising, the overall benefit and the feel-good factor comes in. And with that, you start maybe identifying some of the bad habits in your life, the things that aren't serving you. And it motivates you to try and, you know, distance yourself from them as much as you can and just include more positive things in your life. So then, I started looking into how can I get good at the gym, you know. I had a friend at the time who was really into lifting weights and training. At that stage in the industry, there was no such thing as CrossFit or anything like that. So it was either just...
You're talking early 2000s, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. So this would have been 2001, 2002, yes. So there wasn't necessarily... CrossFit wasn't this big, massive thing. And I grew up watching wrestling as a kid. So I got really into lifting weights. And to me, where do you go with this? And it's being, you know, big, it's being strong. How big can you get? So I just kind of educated myself in nutrition. You know, made a lot of mistakes along the way.
Fads and things.
Yeah, and just, you know, just doing things that you think are right, but maybe are wrong. But, you know, and then you learn as you go on. Like, God, in this day and age, there's so much available information just at the click of a button. Back then you had to search, or you heard from this person or that person, this is what you should do. So you just try everything until you figure out what is really benefiting and what's not, you know. And kind of that's when it all, the gym took off for me for there. And then it just became something that I got very, very passionate about at that sort of young age. Not to say that on the peripherals I still wasn't doing some bad things, but it definitely helped me not want to smoke cigarettes, which was one thing that went very quick.
Or would you say, would it be fair to say it steers you away from a lot of addictions or potential negative behavior patterns?
It's interesting because I blended them all together very well. But, you know, even when I might have been, you know, up to my worst antics and drinking, doing drugs, all that sort of stuff, the one thing I made sure was on Monday, I never missed the gym. And even though I could have been feeling like shit, when I went to the gym, I felt good again, you know. So it negated the nonsense that I was up to at the weekend, and it brought me just back into a place that I could focus on something that I felt was positive for me, you know. You know, even though maybe a lot of stuff wasn't necessarily positive around me, and I was inviting that in, I focused on this one thing, and that really kept my feet on the ground, if that makes sense. I didn't go too far the wrong way. It kind of, I was in a nice balance between both then, you know.
So like, look, we're obviously all on our own journey. And whether a person was like me before a year ago, or they're, as advanced as you, or even more, they've been doing it a lot longer time, or whatever, or higher quality, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whether it's nutrition or exercise or fitness or strength or whatever. But like, I think there's a point, and this is what I wanted to ask you about.
Yes.
Where you it unlocks a level where the other crap that's going on becomes, it's not that you're focusing on this, but the act of doing it and the habit of doing it starts to dissolve the stuff.
Yes, the stuff that doesn't serve you,
So in terms of your body, like I felt that like I'd gone through a doorway. That my body up to that point had never said, you can do this.
Yes.
Like it had never said, you're capable of actually, because you see, like I love music. I might hear a song or a particular performer and go, God, I wish I could sing like him.
Yeah.
Or if I could sing, I can, I would want to sing like them. It's the same if you look at a picture or an actor or a musician or just somebody you admire.
Yes,
physically, whether it be man or woman, just be like, Jesus, like he looks really good for his age. Even not for the age, just.
I hear you, yeah.
So like, what I found was that it unlocked this potential.
Yeah.
It's not about giving yourself like unrealistic goals. Like, I'm not going to be Ryan Gosling.
No,
but at the same time, it's like I can do this. Like, I can do a 10K.
Yeah, I think like when you think like we're all gifted with a body, and it functions. What is the thing that drives our body? Okay, yes, there's our heart, but our mind is the thing that steers it where it needs to go. And I think sometimes we put limits on ourselves and we convince ourselves that, oh no, there's no way I can do that. Or we bring the word can't into our diet, or into our, vernacular. Yeah. And that really then we attach to that idea of can't, But you're right, when you say you can look at all these people that have achieved great things and what do they all have in common? Is that they had a bit of belief in what they can do. So I think when you can flip the script, and instead of focusing on the word can't, why not try? And then through trying, you start maybe seeing, oh, actually, I can do a lot more than I've been telling myself. And then you start getting a bit more belief in yourself, And I think when you're in that place, and you're pushing through the resistance, then in those moments, I think that's when you start. That's where exercise and working on your body really, really helps, because your confidence gets risen and you start believing in yourself a lot more.
And it's also important to know from I go, like I'm not into running around a track.
Yeah.
Running up a mountain or running down a mountain is basically the same thing, but for me it's not.
Yes, yeah.
So if something becomes like really difficult, it's okay to switch.
Yeah.
Just make a few adjustments or tweaks, whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So would you say your belief then is to listen?
Yeah, so
to what's like, where does that voice come from? Is it sort of adjusting it in your mind?
Yeah.
Or does it come from somewhere else?
I think it comes, my feelings will be like, I'll give you an analogy for myself. So for years like I said at the beginning, football and team sports never worked for me. I had 2 left feet, okay? When I grew up, everyone just played football. So I just felt I was absolutely useless. I felt I couldn't run. I felt I wasn't fast. Then when I got the ball, I felt if I tried to kick it right, it would go left. So you know, for me, I associated with running and football as just a really, really bad experience. But swimming was something that I could do. And the gym, again, was something that I really, really excelled at, you know. So flashing forward to COVID again, there's a bunch of people that we know. We have a little fitness app. We all post up what we're doing on a daily. So the lads was Tim, Gary, and Jimmy, yes. They were all into their running. Now, I was not into running from just years of telling myself, I cannot do this thing. So I said, feck it, it's COVID, we're all in this together, let's have a bit of solidarity. So I started running then. And like that.
Oh, I didn't realize you just started then.
I hadn't ran up to that point.
Okay.
Ever, consistently,
Well, neither did I, in fact.
Yeah. So I was like, right, let's give this a go. You know, I have to say, being in the group was a motivation because I felt a little bit under pressure. I'd put myself under pressure. I'd also pushed myself into an uncomfortable place because I was like, I'm not good at this. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'd convinced myself. So I started running. And before you knew it, like, you know, I was getting pretty decent. 5K was my first goal. Took me a long time just to break through the barriers of like telling myself I can't do this. You know, you start off, you're running the first kilometer, I'm feeling heavy, my lungs are starting to burn, and I'm going, I'm not enjoying this. And I'm just like, no, you know, you're trying your best to put up this time or show the guys that you're part of it. So just push yourself. And then I found, you know, after about 1.5 kilometers, I started relaxing, my body started warming up. Then I could just get into a little stride with it. And then the times when my mind would start, you know, coming in and saying, that's enough, I'd say, no, I'll just, you know, I'd look at a little distant point and I'd go, all right, let's just make it to there, see how you feel then. And then I might kick the can down the road and go, well, if you can get there, why don't you not try going there, you know? Yeah. So I slowly began to believe, actually, you can do this, you know? And then I found I really got into it. And then I before I knew it, I was like, actually, I can run, you know? And it was the one part of probably fitness that I never did any time on. I'd done everything else but this one thing because I had such a block about it. But just by trying and then getting into that place where, and I actually enjoyed the journey so much because of how much resistance I met and how much of myself I met. And what I mean by that, it's the resistance I created in myself and the belief of you can't do this. But then when you start battling the oh, no way I can do this, and there's the other party going, no, you can do it. It's like, if you like, there's the yin and yang clashing, and you're trying to just get, you know, go beyond. So you're stepping more into the yin and letting the yang go. If that makes sense. Yeah. And then before you know it, I was flying and I was going, I can actually do this, you know. And then so I just realized in those moments that what's the weakest part of you? And it's your mind, you know. Your body is strong and your body is capable. But if your mind tells you can't do this,
it's true.
Then you're not going to do it, you know, that way. Yeah. But I think when you try, you're surprised. And then you're pleasantly surprised. And then that gives you the motivation to do a little bit more, or try a little bit harder, and build on, you know, the pleasant experience. You know? Yeah. And then I feel that's when the benefits they come into your everyday life because you're applying that feel-good feeling.
Like, even just very simply put, because I was doing that and because I was walking every day, and the mountain was 7K. Up and down. So I was really tired. Whereas before, you know, I'd be up till 3 a.m. worrying and stressing. I was too tired to be doing that. But then you get into a pattern and you wake up, sort of feeling like you've had a good sleep. And feeling like you've earned a good sleep, which automatically puts you in a more positive space.
Yes.
So you might make yourself a nice breakfast. rather than just having a bowl of cereal or something, which isn't actually feeding you on any level.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, like, it's just,
I think as well,
fascinating.
That's a big thing for myself, John, with my relationship with food. You know, I can be quite meticulous and disciplined, and like the food I choose is I feel it's generally something I feel is going to benefit me. Don't get me wrong, I love pizza and I love takeaway and I love chocolate, I love ice cream, but I avoid it as, you know, and it's minimal for myself.
Yeah.
But I really started associating the feeling of, you know, if I eat this food, yes, it tastes great, but afterwards I feel terrible.
Yeah.
So I tend to lean towards food that I know afterwards I still feel good. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it's like, again, it's like the benefit of you exercising, you notice the feel good factor and how much it raises you up. And then when you're, you know, eating food that is bringing that feel good factor down, you don't want to lose what you've gained from the exercise. So you feel like, well, how can I keep this ball rolling? And then you start, you know, creating good habits or better habits, you know.
And it doesn't, like, we need to acknowledge that, like, not everybody is capable physically of doing a 5K or even a So we're talking generally about like walking the dog or walking down the pier or you know, steps. A number of steps. Some people are, you know, their life situation is that they have, maybe they're caring for somebody or, you know.
Yeah, of course.
But it's about making the choices that work for you, your own goals.
Look, 100%. You're absolutely correct. I think as well, you know, with society in this day, everything is very easy for us. You know,
well, it's a lot easier than it used to be.
100%. And you would think, you know, 50 years ago, maybe a little bit more, like
when we were in our 20s.
Yeah. But, you know, there wasn't as much transport around. There wasn't as much fast food. You know, people had to walk places. People had to cycle places. You know, you hear stories of...
And there was no junk food.
No. And, like, everything was farm fresh. You know, everything was seasonal. You know, and you had to work to get stuff as well, you know. So we innately were more physical. We were innately more active. You know, even like with the advent of washing machines, dishwashers, all those, everyone, they were all physical jobs we had to do. Like
chopping wood. My God, guys. When you have to chop wood, you really know the muscles you don't use.
Yeah. So you know, like, and even again, if you go back like 50 years before that, you know, like, you know, we are still in ways primal, but we're moving away from, you know, what we're supposed to be. That innate primal instinct in us of just moving, you know.
Technically, a person could not leave their house and do everything they needed to do in life.
No.
Now, like there are people that don't leave the house.
Absolutely.
For their own reasons, and you know, whatever. That's them. But like our ancestors, our grandparents, that was just not an option. You had to.
You have to like to survive. Yeah. So I just think it's the times are different now. You know.
So you've dedicated. So you work in a school. Dave was telling me about this earlier on. I think it's so fascinating now that you're able to share this gift with kids that are not necessarily into team sports.
Yes.
Who kind of fall through the cracks. Of, you know, maybe they're a little bit, you know, on the surface level, they're just not into, like yourself, you know, they don't feel that they're good at gym or soccer or Gaelic or whatever. But now you actually kind of...
So I worked in the fitness industry full time for the best part of 20 years. Loved it. But, you know, found myself overworked and given the whole time and not getting a lot of me time back. So I just, again, COVID was great. I was like, how do I create balance here? So I upskilled. I became an SNA. And then I got a job in a secondary school, and that was great. So I noticed in the secondary school that, you know, it's a prominent rugby school. Like, rugby is very, very celebrated. They have great facilities in the school. All the rugby guys use it. All the rugby guys are looked after. They're given programs. They're given diet. They're given nutrition advice. And wow, the kids, they're amazing these days. They really like listen. They have an abundance of knowledge, and it's all passed and shared with them. So I got an opportunity in my first year there of doing a sports camp. And, you know, it was great. We got loads of kids in it. But there was one or two kids that, you know, weren't the most sporty. And I'm sure their parents were like, you know, you're doing this camp. Like, do you know what I mean? Because it's going to be good for you. And they probably didn't want to do it. But, you know, they were there.
Kicking and screaming.
Kicking and screaming. Yeah, they were there. There's one kid in particular who I really like loved watching his journey. So, you know, he was last picked at everything. God love him. He didn't have any speed, especially when we were outside doing the pitch stuff. But then we had an hour in the gym as well every day. And wow, did he progress so much in the gym. And just watching his journey from a kid that could barely do a push-up to being able to do a push-up. A kid that had very little body awareness to, you know, then watching him and understanding my cues when I was saying to him, and then him being able to apply it and just see his constant progress. I was like, wow, like, why is nobody looking after these kids? Because the rugby guys and the guys that play basketball and football, like, they don't need looking after. They're already into it, but this guy needs a place, like, you know. So I spoke with the principal and I was like, hey, you know, I feel there could be a place for these, you know, kids like this guy who need just a bit of support. You know, so I was able to set up a little program, an after school thing for guys like that, and get them in. And just, you know, I felt that they were slipping through the cracks and not being looked after. So what I want, like my vision for it was that if I could shepherd these kids in the right direction and just, you know, show them, you know, there's a place for you. You know, you can come to the gym. It's not competitive. You know, yes, maybe you're competing against yourself, but you're only going to see yourself get a little bit better and get stronger and get confident, you know. And it was really beautiful just seeing those guys then getting a bit of, you know, self-belief and them having confidence in themselves. And then, you know, they were shining.
That's what I was missing in our young lives, I think.
Yeah. Because, like, God, if, you know, we did, like, the gym wasn't really a thing when we were growing up, but, you know, you had to play team sports. And there's a lot of pressure involved in that because, you know, if you're playing GAA, there's 15 other players. And if you're like the worst out of 15, it's not good for your confidence. You know, same with football. If you're picked last or nearly last, it's not good for your confidence.
And there's kind of negatives, like there's bullying and there's, you know, slagging on, you know.
Of course, all
tough,
that.
Like, it's a tough gig.
Look, absolutely.
Especially after a whole day of school when you might be getting that anyway.
And if you feel like you're not good and the team's relying on you, and then you feel like a team can't rely on you, like, you're just going to give up and you're not, it's too much pressure, you know. Whereas something like the gym, it's or even going for a walk, you know, maybe younger people aren't into that, but the gym, like, it's a journey of yourself, you know. And when you see yourself starting off and you can barely do a push-up to then being able to do 10 push-ups, it's like the rate of what's the word I'm looking for? Results or change, or when you're seeing yourself doing something new, it happens
exponentially.
Yeah, like more and more. And that's where you kind of like, you can see yourself progressing, and you can see people like the kid I'm talking about just enjoying, you know, seeing himself getting stronger.
Because it's just like, I mean, I just find it incredible that I kind of identified it as a boy and as a young guy. It was either pitch, or perhaps something like tennis or so, whatever is going on, wherever the person is, rugby, whatever. It was either pitch or you weren't. That's it. Like it's either you're either sporty or you're not.
Or you're not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
However, what you're doing is it can be sporty or healthy.
Exactly. Yes.
And the health is far more important to so many of these other people than the sport.
Exactly, yes.
And I just find it incredible that that's not the norm.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, so what the shepherding that you're talking about is just like unbelievable. So what you're instilling in these young people is like, they're learning the language of the body.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whereas the language of the body doesn't come from sports; it comes from health.
Yeah, exactly. But it also comes from connecting with it, and like you experienced, it's listening to it, or maybe hearing it for the first time. You know, because I'm sure there's many times you might have listened and you might have been like, oh God, like I'm feeling stiff here, you know. And then when you actually get up and you start moving, you're like, God, I'm not stiff anymore.
You can push through it a bit.
Yeah. Or you find like your general day-to-day sitting around, you're not as stiff as you might have been before, you know. So for someone like the kids that I'm talking about that mightn't necessarily think that they're sporty, when you get them to have a bit of self-belief and create body awareness and just understand how to move and basic patterns, wow, it's just the benefits it has for guys like that is great, you know. You know, and even one day, this one really got me as well, the same kid. It was like, you know, he was in the gym one day and we had the leg press up. And leg press is very basic. It's just like an up and down sort of movement.
Plate.
Yeah. So, you know, we were loading the weights up to see who could do the most. And this kid gets up and, you know, he's, you know, far outshone everybody.
Yeah.
But God, if you could see the joy in his face, because he'd never had that in his life of him being, I'm the best. You know, I'm sure his internal voice has just been, I'm useless, I'm not good. But then with this, it was just the moment I was like, that is what I've, you know, that's all I could really hope for from what I've been trying to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
What would you say, and we'll wrap up with this. What would you say to somebody who knows that they're not doing things right, who wants but doesn't know where to start? Like for me, it was kind of a crisis that, you know, but somebody who's just kind of simmering along with their inner voice, they know they should stop doing this set of things and they want to start making a few changes. And we're in January now, you know, there's all the
of course,
resolution thing. So like, what would you say to somebody who's on the cusp of that journey?
So, you know, I'd say don't be afraid, you know. Try your best not to fall victim to yourself and by using the word can't or not, and try and maybe step into a place where you're, you know, you can say, you know, what if I try this, you know, or you know, maybe I can do this, and just give yourself the opportunity to, you know, at least try, and maybe you'll fail, but who knows? Maybe you'll be surprised.
Failure is part of growth, like, as well.
Absolutely. Look, I go to the gym and I fail every single day. But I want to take
in a healthy way.
I want to take myself to failure, because you're right. True failure is where you grow and you get stronger and you understand yourself and your true limits, you know.
And then, like, it's about, for me, it was kind of like giving yourself permission to actually succeed.
Yes.
Which is down here rather than up there.
Yeah. I think your mind has to align with it, though. I think, you know, they both work for sure. Like I said, it's the body is going to be willing, but it's the mind that can put the barrier. And when you can break, you know, maybe breaking is the wrong word, but when you can allow yourself to get to that barrier, and you're not afraid to either get on your tippy toes and look over the wall, you know, maybe you'll be able to get one hand up and the leg over and climb it. But it's not until you're willing to at least face the barrier, like really face it, and not look at it from a distance, get close. Then I think you have a chance at, you know, failing but succeeding all at the same time. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Growing,
expanding. Yes. Yeah. Because it is true, trying and maybe not succeeding, that you you can then assess and go, well, how can I do that better?
Yeah.
And then through just assessing and bringing yourself and allowing yourself to go that little bit further, to push past your perceived limitations.
Yeah.
That's how you really grow. And then I think it's your mind and your body become more in line in those moments. Yeah. That makes sense.
David Cunningham, everyone. Thank you very much. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please like, subscribe, share, and do make a comment on whatever platform you're watching or listening to this on. We're on Instagram as well, speaklisten.podcast. So please do like, share, and do email us if you have a story to tell. So thanks again. More videos coming very soon. So have a great day and God bless.